Aquarius season now, so let's go. More transparent communications for us. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be deleting these YouTube videos or not, but at this point, I'm realizing that my work needs to be shared. I can't just be on New Life only, basically silent, because it doesn't have the network effect yet of, you know, these big Web2 places. I just want to scroll down to commemorate my beautiful communications here on Twitter. I don't use Twitter too much, but when I use it, you know how it is. And I created a new account on natalia.nco, and it was blocked by yours truly beings somehow faster than I could, express myself enough. I also noticed that my Clubhouse account has this like giant, huge exclamation point, that Natalia.ai account on Clubhouse, the one that I haven't used for many months now because I've lost access to it because I changed my phone. And I looked up what does it mean, this exclamation point. Apparently it's because several people have blocked me. Hello, Madhvi. Who else? But yeah, it's funny because I'm keeping a track record of all the people who blocked me in my life, and it's not cute, this whole blockage thing. And look, I have been not blocking people for a long time, and then when people started blocking me, I'm like, wait, is that a thing? As a Pisces, something went wrong. As a Pisces, I have to say that it's hard for me to block people. I'm usually the one kind of person that gives people, all the opportunities in the world to come back to me in my life. Why are we not working? Oof. Oh, I just been logged off because I've removed my cookies, whatever, from the website, but that's fine. Yeah, Balanced Culture DAO account is open, while the Natalia.ai is closed. I prefer to keep it closed because my shares may trigger people, but the Balanced Culture DAO is like more professional account, but both of them are professional. Come on, like all my presence online is professional, please. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing private about what I'm sharing in these places. Really, really. Natalia.ai is a character, me, the one who's speaking right now, is a character. I'm, channeling Natalia.ai entity and everything that's connected to that entity. And I prefer not to give out my identity. My true identity is going to stay in real life. Yeah? Because internet is not a safe place. And hey, I've even learned that the Web3 is not a safe place because the kind of people that are creating the Web3 still are not balanced people. Yeah? As simple as that. They're not. That's true. The thing is, before I was trying my best to get away from... Why? Because I'm sharing my status. Yeah, I tried to get away from the fashion world as much as I could by, integrating myself deeply in technology. And now I'm like, wow, I need to get out of tech as soon as possible, so that I can stay balanced. So what's next? Continuation of mysticism and spirituality and philosophy, and of course, focusing on culture and education and trade. Yes, I believe that these three pillars are going to be the next systems of governance in the world: education, culture, just like entertainment, and art, and trade. Education, culture, and trade. Trade being the one that I'm really fascinated about because it's really, I can utilize experience that I've gained in the fashion world and having my own stores, doing sales, PR, and working with boutiques and e-com stores. So I really am fascinated about trade, and I've been assigned to be director of merchandise planning in the New Coin New Life ecosystem back in 2019. And I've implemented that. And if you are in New Life, you'll understand what it means. I've been taking photos and digitalizing my whole wardrobe since 2019 fully, and that's the thing. Like, you DM me if you like something and you want to trade. That's really it. Yeah, I don't want to complicate anything, like, please. And also another thing is that I don't ship things. So if you're in the same location with me and I happen to have that certain object with me that you'd like, yeah, we'll negotiate. But I'm not going to ship you anything. You come and get it if you'd like, if you come to the place where I store these things. Very particular. Oh, we're all down all the way to June. Hello. Well, let's just I guess stop here. Yes, as I started sharing other people's posts. On Twitter, I used to basically like share other people's posts much, and now I'm like, no, it's gonna be just me sharing. This account, Balanced Culture, used to be Balanced Fashion, and yeah, that's why it's registered in 2018 in January when I actually started creating this company. Okay, we're back into this article about Sold Out Souls. Let's see. Okay, so it was from December 15th, the fact that Nike bought this company called what is it, RFTK? Is that? And what's that about? Yeah, RTFKT. Because you know why? Because the RTFKT team was exhausted by the narrative that they created, and they're like, fuck no, I'm not gonna be in this anymore, so let me just sell it, my company. But most of the companies in tech world and in even fashion world, they desire to be sold. They don't want to be like independent forever because they're tired. Huh. It's a war. Yeah, that's a good point. I like the language that our Emma Jane Cyborg is promoting, but at the same time, I'm very annoyed by her because she's very much like me. She's just, extra alpha, like A type personality that just cannot stop. So I love you, Emma Jane, but, balance. Find that for yourself. And even if this is your balance, good for you. I hope you're good. Like, I don't know, like what I'm doing now is, of course, my own balance, but I'm not like the happiest person in the world right now. So there's always a room for growth. Why are we looking at this? Nice website. Oh, Polish language. Yeah, so what we're doing in this video, obviously, is we're cleaning my tabs. But you don't see all the tabs I have there, like 40 of them or so, or maybe 50. So we're gonna go through them until my memory on my computer is done, which is like, I think 4 gigabytes, talking about energy. But you know what we're doing here? We're actually creating a cultural cut of what is happening. Same that I did with my IG stories review just before that. I'm trying my best not to open new pages, but rather close pages. Okay. So yeah, I asked my collaborator about what she thinks about this, because this digital fashion looks exactly like a normal, physical fashion. Like, do we want that? Right, like recreate what we already have in digital? I don't think so. Of course they do. I haven't been on like websites like The Verge for a very long time. It doesn't feel balanced at all. You know, the Tonga had an explosion, right? And so just want to quickly talk about that. It was completed by the Earth, the Earth, right after, a few days after they announced that, just like El Salvador, they're going to have Bitcoin as their main cryptocurrency, like as their official currency. And then, you know what the Earth did? Did the explosion, the volcano explosion. So you think what to think about that. I'm not gonna, give you more insights. Okay, how possibly we can close Astrology for the Soul January 19 if I haven't watched it yet? Well, we're gonna do it because that's the goal. Like, nice Amanda Sage work on the background. Very nice. Kaipacha is great. Let's listen to him for a sec.
Eternal, infinite forms of security. And maybe we won't do that until some are pulled away from us, some are taken away from us. So we are dealing with death in many of its forms.
Great.
Death of loved ones, death of lifestyles.
Yes.
Death of careers, a death of freedoms or liberties. It's so many passings away of the way of what we thought, of what we held to, of our control. This is a loss of control. We are all experiencing this kind of loss of control over our own course of life.
Over the known.
Well, it's
great. No, Kaipacha is amazing. You all right. Yes. So have you seen the latest edition of the website? Just, as the Aquarius season kicked in, I was like, yep, need to update my website. And it never works like that. Like, I'm never forcing myself to update the website. I'm just doing it, and I spend like, hours, and then I'm done. And that is good for like a month or so, and then I update it again. Last time I touched it was in, I believe, the end of December. No, early January. That was it. Was yeah. So you have this whole thing, right? I'm not gonna go all the way down because Natalia.ai. But then the main part is really this, because that's where all the intellectual property is stored. And as you can see, I just track with my screenshots on the progress on the landing page. So yeah, the last one was on January 3rd, 2022. These articles are great, by the way, and I constantly update them. So if you looked at them like a month ago, if you look at them again, they're different, because I write this many articles at the same time. Yes, I do. Have you seen my first nonfiction? Yep, it's gonna go down more. Yeah, no, nonfiction is great. And it was a dream that I had, so it was particular guidance to share. It's 1st of January kind of dream, Yeah, scouting for visual and energetic communications balance on these platforms. Yep. So that's that. We got the new website. Oh, yes. Yeah, I was looking specifically on JK's Rowling's insights, and she was like showing all these notes,
I drew a lot of pictures I drew them for no one but me. I just wanted to know what the characters look like. So anyway, that was Argus Filch.
Nice.
No prizes.
She's
Snape,
great.
obviously.
Wow.
That is Harry arriving in Privet Drive with Professor McGonagall and Hagrid and Dumbledore. That was a Gringotts cart.
She's amazing.
That's the Weasleys.
Nice.
Professor Sprout.
Amazing.
I like this one. I thought I'd lost this picture, actually, because I was going to show it to Chris Columbus. And true to form, I only found it when it was no use, and they'd already filmed that bit anyway. But this is how the entrance to Diagon Alley works in my imagination. So Chris is going to murder me when he finds out I had a blueprint all along, and he was asking me how it worked. But it was buried in books.
Amazing.
And that's in effect what I did. It was a question of condensing and editing and sculpting a book out of this mass of stuff that I had on Harry. And I thought that if it got published, I really thought it's a book for obsessives. It's a book for the kind of people who enjoy every little tiny detail about the world, because I have every little tiny detail about the world.
Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry.
Forgive my impertinence, but has anybody asked you why you are sometimes difficult to understand?
Because I use the right hemisphere when they're trying to use the
listen
left.
to this.
Okay, well,
Simple.
I'll try and get back on the one.
You see that when the people ordinarily people are trained to try to follow you and to connect everything you say with what they last heard.
So true.
They're not prepared to use their wits. They're only prepared to use the idea they picked up the first time and try to connect it to another idea.
He's such a big influence on me. Yeah, I was also looking at
Joe and Ian's
the
sisters,
details
Charlotte
of her
and
life.
Shannon, would often play together, dressing up like witches, while Ian would dress up as a wizard. They would make potions, Joe telling them to get twigs to add to the concoction. Joe would often read poetry to them as well. Around the ages of 12 and 10, Joe and Di were part-time cleaners of their church, St. Luke's, to earn extra pocket money.
As though all the happiness had gone from the world.
Chocolate is even one of the few cures to make you feel better after an attack, a common cure for depression. Rowling eventually got into a routine. The only way to make Jessica fall asleep was to keep her moving, so Joe pushed her in a carriage until she fell asleep. And when she did, she went into the nearest cafe and began writing. Her favorite cafe was called Nicholson's, which was owned by her brother-in-law.
This Blavatsky video, I haven't watched it yet, but I've watched basically all of them, Blavatsky's videos, on all, languages that I know. Yeah, she's amazing. Like, let's be honest. I channel her.
Unusual and fascinating appearances.
Madame Blavatsky was intrigued both by a desire to continue her investigation into spiritualist phenomena and perhaps to meet the author of these interesting articles.
She was driven by the desire for fame constantly, even when it was not in her interest to thrust herself into the headlines.
So she was at this Eddie Brothers farm?
According to Alcott, HPB certainly stood out in a crowd. My eye was first attracted by a scarlet Garibaldian shirt she wore, as in vivid contrast with the dull colors around. The hair was a thick blonde mop, worn shorter than the shoulders, and it stood out from her head, silken soft and crinkled to the roots.
And the divine. And what is in the world reflects the divine and is the divine. So the idea is a unified teaching in which everything literally is God.
Theosophy.
There has been some question about...
All right. Ooh. What is my video? This is great stuff, by the way. I've added it to my page as well, natalia.ai. But here's the overview. Let's see today. Okay, well, 3 things. Saturn Like, oh no, we're looking at 21. Hello. It's strange that it's 22 now, right? It's kind of like, what? We're on 22? But yeah, no, let's look at the 22. There's nothing for the 20th, huh? I'm really excited about the Mercury going semi-sextile in Jupiter in Pisces. It's gonna do something for me personally for sure. Yeah, it's nice to know your chart so well as I know it, so that you can actually feel into what's gonna happen.
Well, the design industry is gearing up for
Mercedes-Benz. So she's one of my, you know, OG mentors and bosses in fashion. Icelandic.
Friends had experiences where they saw something come down the runway that they really loved and they wanted to secure that piece, and then they waited 4 or 5 months for the collection to come into store, but unfortunately it wasn't bought by the store, and if it was bought, it wasn't in their size.
Really sort of it has, until your site, really the power is sort of remains in the hands of the buyers for these big department stores, the Saks and Macy's, and if they weren't picking certain pieces off the runway, then you as a customer were not able to buy that piece.
No, that's absolutely correct. And until now, there hasn't really been any mechanism for designers to get immediate feedback from customers in terms of what it is they want. One of the great advantages they see to our site is within 2-3 days of their show, they know what the woman in LA is reacting to. They know what the woman in the Middle East is reacting to. And they can actually use that information to make better decisions about what they produce, what they put into their own stores, and what they put on their websites.
We were just talking a little bit about the membership.
So balanced fashion. Moda Operandi was one of those like deeply desired places for me to work in as I graduated from FIT. So Aslak Magnusdottir was my, deep inspiration in terms of what's to come.
On our site, and the designer trunk show will live on the site for 36 to 72 hours, and during that time our members can pre-order any of the styles from the runway.
And this is, I have to say, I don't get to all the fashion shows. I get to maybe one per fashion week here in the city, and I will say that what appears in the department stores seems to be very different than what you actually see during fashion week, and that's sort of what you're appealing to, is to the person who really wants to get what they see on the
Yeah. Now she's busy doing something different, right? A website, or rather a brand that is on-demand production of garments. Like similar to what she did with Tinker Tailor, where I also worked. So I worked both in Moda Operandi, by the way, and Tinker Tailor, her other startup. And now this one.
So we had a wonderful meeting. He ended up giving me a signed copy of his book at the end. And then they contacted me just a couple of days later and offered me a job. And so I joined as a partner in his consulting firm, but also he liked that I had an investment background because he wanted to start doing investments in some of the earlier stage brands that he was working with. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, so she's talking about her history, which
because even in Australia with the pandemic, I was talking with someone this morning who's
pre-order wasn't available anywhere else. We were able to sign most of our brands to a 2-year exclusive on pre-order because nobody else was doing it. And so the proposition we were offering to customers is, you've been watching Style.com, Vogue.com, blogs all over the world, and you see what's going down the runway, but you haven't been able to secure those pieces. They have their own stores, their own website.
I want to see when she talks about Tinker Tailor.
It did actually do very well from the beginning. We did get a lot of press because it was a different business model. There was
Moda. We haven't got very long, but I'd just love to sort of bring us up to today.
Okay, so after Moda, at that point I had the startup bug. So I felt like I can't do anything other than start business. So I started another one called Tinker Tailor.
Yay!
Which I think is a beautiful concept, and it was about customized design. And we partnered with high-end designers to offer customized versions of their runway. So I felt like a lot of women, they love this runway piece, but they would like to have sleeves or they want it to be a little bit longer. And, different women have different needs or desires.
So hence the Tinker Tailor. We'll just tinker a little bit with yes, I love it.
Yes. But we at the same time launched a part of the site where you could create your own Tinker Tailor style, and then that was really about customer design. So we created this 3D rendering tool where you could put together sleeves, bodices, skirts,
easy
and
digital
create
fashion
your
coming life.
dress. I think we were a little bit too early for the customization.
For sure.
I actually think the concept would probably work better today than it did then.
Well, you've got Katla now, so you never know.
No. That's the thing. Tinker Tailor was early. Yeah. Yeah, I was watching a little bit of the town hall for Near Protocol just because I wanted to see how these town halls go. Boring, even though maybe it's just for me, but so far, yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna come back to this. I don't think so. So I'm not saving that. Yeah, I was just looking deeply into Near because my friend who said that he's magnetized by my presence is working with them. So I was just looking at this from the perspective of would I want to do some communications work for them, just to see, because if that person was working for them, it means that they're conscious, or I don't know. But it doesn't feel like it somehow. I don't know, like maybe it's design that is speaking to me, but when I am feeling into the energy of tech, I know right away if it's a conscious product or not. I would just know it, I just know it. It's just how it is. And regarding much of the crypto world projects, they're not passing the mark even closely, The reason why I started to be intimate with New Coin, New Life, is because I felt personally attracted to the execution of the early stages of the idea. Okay, let's just, yeah. So that's that. And look, I've always been working with early stage startups. I don't like anything that's not early stage. Yeah, I don't like nothing that has to do with like big scale. I don't really like resonate with it. Yeah, I've been looking at these just because I wanted to, see all these faces and see like what kind of faces are selected to be those that lead the conversations around what's to come in the world in terms of economy and narrative. And I'll just shut up for a second. See patterns? Oh, I mean, I'd like to see his address. That's the thing, like, we're gonna save this page for sure. I'll publish this list on my Natalia.ai list of curation account or page. Let's just take a look at him. Let's see.
the most important area. But the main question, the answer to which gives much insight into the current problems, is what was the nature of this global growth? Who benefited most from it? Undoubtedly, leads to public discontent, and it requires special attention. These problems should be resolved. There are dangerous illusions that we can just don't deal with it.
Yeah, bad translation. Really bad. Oh, we're still there. How come we're like 2 times on this website? What's going on? Why does it draw to me? Is it the case studies and news? Is it what's really bringing me here? Tell me, someone. Please. Lucky beings. Future in transit.
One of the main
Am I the only one thinks that fashion isn't expired, like completely? Okay, like on New Life, fine, we've been weaving it as a form of communications. But generally, September 11, 2020, you know? I think it ended in 2020, fashion. And then it turned into crypto. And then 2022 hit, and we're like, what? Really? Is that what we're gonna be doing the rest of our lives, is supporting these protocols and the apps that are built on them, staring at our screens until our eyes pop up and out? Yeah, I don't know why I have this. Let's see. What about that mid base? And oh no, I promise I'm not gonna open these websites, but let's sure, of course. All right, yeah, trash art. Still looking at trash art. That's the thing. The notion of art is losing its value because of what NFT agenda is creating right now. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah? Yeah, I was in the Art Basel, the original Art Basel in Switzerland, in Basel, in 2021. And nobody talked about NFTs, really. You know, it's not like in Miami. Nobody really cared. It was all about in-person connection, you know, coming back to in-person. And yeah, of course, there were pieces of digital art. Yeah, but honestly, only 2 galleries that I saw on the Art Basel itself that were that were actually NFTs for the masses. This is just scary, you know? This is just scary. Like, just this notion of NFTs for the masses. Nobody needs the NFT. Like, really. Like, it's all gonna be shared. Don't you understand? It's all gonna be shared content. It's all gonna be educational content. Trade is gonna be all about food, physical items, okay? Physical. And, of course, you know, living spaces. Having living spaces one place, another place. Cultural exchanges. Skills exchanges. Yeah, you know, let's see, like, double-edged sword. Echo chambers. Manipulations of behaviors. And censorship.